Hey Alistair, thank you very much for taking time to meet us. We've been looked after well by your team here. I just wanted to have a wee catch up with you as the Distillery Manager and have a few wee questions with you. So first off is tell us a bit about your background and your role here at the Clydeside Distillery.
Yes, Chris, well, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. My background in the industry was, I actually started at Bowmore on Islay. I'm originally from Islay, and it wasn't necessarily the whisky industry I wanted to get into. It was in engineering. I had a passion for engineering, so I wanted to get into engineering, to be fair, and my route in was through a distillery, a whisky distillery, Bowmore on Islay. So I started my apprenticeship there and then moved to Glasgow to finish my apprenticeship, to do my college, and then moved on to, basically when my time was out, I got lucky enough to get the role of distillery engineer at Auchentoshan Distillery. Long story short, that was back in 1984, so I've been in the industry for a number of years, and then moved through the engineering process and became engineer for not only Auchentoshan but Bowmore, Glengarry and a week in head office. I spent a week, a month at each site, which gave me a real good introduction to engineering and production. In 2011 I got the opportunity to move into production at Auchentoshan as Distillery Manager, and done that for 6 years until I seen this bright shiny new pin on the horizon, and a lot of nice touches was things like being involved in creating a new make spirit. There was a lot of nice pools. Obviously the family that I started with in 1984 was the Morrison family, and as you know it's the Morrison family that now have this, so moving back with them, so a lot of nice touches. And as long as it was a long time, 33 years with the one company, this had a strong pull that I wanted to be here as Distillery Manager. So I'm now Distillery Manager, overseeing production and full health and safety for the site.
Excellent. With regards to the whisky production itself, obviously you don't really know what you're getting until it comes out of the cask, but is there anything that you're putting in place, or anything that you're trying, any sort of flavours that you're trying to get out of the whisky that you're producing here? Yeah,
well, obviously opening a new distillery in the city, it was important to go with a region which is the Lowland region, and the Lowland region for me is about fruity character, it's about delicate, clean new make, so it was all about getting that gentle, sweet character. A lot of the design had been done before I came on board, so there was a lot of work with the late Dr. Jim Swan on the type of stills, and Harry Coburn, another industry stalwart who had been, since I started in '84, involved in engineering production. So these guys, plus Forsyth's Coppersmiths, have got generations again of experience within industry. So these guys were behind a lot of the decision making at that point to create this Lowland style. When I came on board and we got up and running, what it was we'd probably done 4 to 5 weeks of trials. You've got a lot of parts that play a part within the process and the flavour, from mashing, fermentation, distillation. So we had to basically refine and tune these to get them to where we were. So we've got a lovely, delicate new make spirit of typical Lowland character.
Yeah, we did try a bit of the new make. It was quite pleasant actually. It's interesting to know that that's what's going into the cask. So it's very interesting to see what comes out at the other side. So very exciting times. Now, as well as this place being a exciting visitor attraction, and bring upping the game for Glasgow in terms of bringing whisky, having a presence in the whisky industry. What else does this distillery bring to the city of Glasgow in terms of our business?
Well, right away you mentioned obviously the whisky in Glasgow, and I think bringing a distillery to the city of Glasgow again, when you see the number of distilleries that were here in the early 1900s, in the region 20 to 30 distilleries within the city, I think it's great to bring the distillery back into the city, and obviously then again from the Clydeside, our location here, to bring employment back to an area that was absolutely bustling with shipping, engineering, shipbuilding, all that, to bring an industry of whisky distilling back to here has put a lot of jobs and indirect jobs as well, because there's suppliers to here that we use a lot of local produce, which is important to us. Probably finally is the process. The whisky making process is not just about making whisky. We actually have a byproduct. We actually get 3 byproducts of draft, pot ale and spent lees that we actually send out to a company within Glasgow that actually they generate natural gas and put it back into the grid. So we're actually supplying enough byproduct here to fuel 50 average sized houses a year of natural gas. So putting something back into the environment.
That's fantastic.
Important.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You don't really think about that when you think about a distillery and what you're doing, but obviously in this day and age.
Yeah, well, that's it. A lot of distilleries, the byproducts go to farms and for cattle feed. Within the city, not a lot of farms around here, as you can see. So we had to think out the box, and to be honest, to put something back into the city, I think is good to do.
Yeah, it certainly is. Final question is that we normally ask when we're doing these What's Your Dram interviews is, what is your dram? What's your favourite whisky? What do you drink as a distillery?
Tend to answer that with when. So I'm kind of pulled between two at the moment, but coming from Ireland, obviously have to side towards a Bowmore 15-year-old darkest, but if the truth be told and I had to choose one and one only, it would have to be Auchentoshan 3-wood, which has been heavily influenced by sherry, as you know, the two sherry finishes. That would be my go-to dram, is the Auchentoshan 3-wood. Obviously a relationship with a number of years, spent more than half my life there, so probably the one I've tasted the most as well. So,
fantastic. So I'm sure you've got a cupboard full of this stuff.
Yes.
You have to work as well. Maybe catch up for a dram sometime. We'll definitely come in back here at some point to do a tasting of some sort. Maybe we can look at some recommendations from you then.
Well, we do a manager's tour on a Thursday, every Thursday at 2 o'clock.
And you takes a tour?
Yes, so we do it in this very room, and basically the tasting consists of an Auchentoshan 3-wood, believe it or not, Bowmore 15-year-old darkest. One of our AD Rattree businesses, Cask Orkney, and a Balvenie Doublewood 17, all chosen. So that's
fantastic.
Four favourite drams.
That sounds very good. That's it. You might see me back here in the very near future. But
hopefully so.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us again. It's an absolute pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.